Good morning. Good morning, Bliss Collective. Happy Hump Day. Happy Wednesday. Yay. Here we are, pushing the buttons, getting everything going. Um, Welcoming you to the uh, Hump Day Happy Chat in the Bliss Collective. Yay. Yay. Okay, I'm doing this little thing where I'm sharing. Awesome. So, good morning, good morning, good morning to you. How are you doing? I have my green tea latte in this. Now it's become my favorite mug. Do you go in cycles? Like you have a favorite mug and you use it and then you see one and you're like, "Ooh, there's something about that one." So the something about this one is yellow. It says a brand on it, and this is a restaurant. I was in Palm Springs not too long ago with my camping friends, the people I go camping with. We're going camping at the end of this month. Woo! And uh, we had brunch at this place called Elmer's. Oh my gosh, it was so good. They have German pancakes. We didn't have any that time. Next, because I'm all carb freaky. But next time, German pancakes are going to have to get in my belly. And so my yellow mug, which is filled with green tea. Yay, yay, yay. So hallelujah and amen for that. Um, I feel like my camera is so close to me. Whoa, you can't see anything except for my big face. I like my face, so big or not, it's okay with me. So anyway, how are you doing, Bliss Collective? It's time for the Hump Day Happy Chat. These are my little live videos to help you know there's a real person behind this group. It's not a bot. And that we're here to create something new and different in our lives that lasts for forever. And to collectively, that's why it's called the Bliss Collective, to collectively embody the teachings, embody the wisdom, like so that we're being it when we're out in the world. So together we create a massive ripple effect across the planet that creates more love, peace, joy, and freedom for everybody. Whee! Let's have more of that. I want more love, peace, joy, and freedom for everybody. Okay, so today in the Hump Day Happy Chat. So usually what happens is people will send me questions. I'll be talking with somebody and I'll get, oh yeah, that might be something that people in the collective are concerned about or wondering about. And or I'll be brushing my teeth trying to decide, well, what are we going to talk about today? And something comes up and I make note of it. And so that's how the topics come up. Sometimes it's prescribed, like, I know we need to tackle this because I know this gets in the way of bliss. And other times it just pops in. So this one actually popped in the course of doing what I was already doing. And it raised a question in me, and I thought I would talk about it. I've let it kind of percolate for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, to kind of see. And it keeps coming to me. So I'm taking that as a sign from the divine. So sidebar, you know that in the teachings and in my book and in my courses, I'm telling you a very important concept that you can choose to take on. And that is that your life is happening for you. So if your life is happening for you, that means the substance of your life, the experience of your life, the expressions in your life are speaking to you. They're speaking to you. And they're singing a song, and they're giving you glimpses, sometimes direct instruction on what to do to have your life be better. That's how it works. That's how life works. Like, it's your life. And so when I say, I noticed something and it came up multiple times, or I let it percolate for a while and it's still kind of, it's still talking to me, then I'm demonstrating that I listen to the messages coming to me, from me, for me, by me, about me. To me, from me, for me, by me, about me. All of our lives are doing that. So there's this thing called collective consciousness and social proof. And some people live their lives in those realms. And there's nothing wrong with that. The question is it really serving them at the highest and best levels? That's not for me to judge. That's for them to judge, for them to discern, I don't know if this is serving me. It feels good in the moment, but then there's this after effect, or it feels bad in the moment, but then there's this after effect. Whatever it is it serving you? So this is the dance. So this idea, this concept kind of kept gnawing at me, bothering me. I spilled my tea a minute ago and I'm remembering that moisture on wood, not a good thing. Okay. Moisture on taste buds, good thing. Okay, so here's the thing. I titled this week's Hump Day Happy Chat, Are You Gaming Your System? Are you gaming your system? And here's where this came from, right? In the dance of self-mastery. Self-mastery is the most important thing leading to bliss. So when you go to bliss, like there are some real practical things that are part of creating that in your life. Yes, you can, bliss out after drinking a bottle of champagne. Maybe. I used to. Yes, you may bliss out in some other states, some other mental states. And true blissing out comes from a different space. It comes from inside of you. It comes from the pure essence of who you are. Like it's already a part of you. So why might you not be connecting to it, aligning with it? It might be these nuggets of kind of the false self, past conditioning, conditioned patterns of responding in your life to your life. Those kinds of things can get in the way. So here's one. Are you gaming the system? So in true Valerie Shepherd form, I make sure I know the colloquial use or the correct dictionary definition of phrases that I kind of pull apart or use. So gaming the system, according to Wikipedia and others, can be defined as using the rules and procedures meant to protect a system to instead manipulate the system for a desired outcome. So in the bigger world, in the societal experience, there's a lot of gaming of the system going on, of the system. So there's a lot of rigging, potentially, things that people might call abuse of systems. People might call certain behavior downright cheating. People might say that some people are milking a system, like flaws in a system get milked. People may even say, we're coming up in the United States on tax season, tax day. And some people might say that, well, many people have said this, not in these words, but have said something similar, that your job, the reason you hire an accountant, your job is to make sure that all the loopholes in the system are maximized to your advantage. So I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about and some of that stuff is like most gaming of the system is legal. And then there's this legal versus moral versus ethical versus is it just for me? Even if it checks all those boxes, is that the way I'm called to be in relationship with whatever the system is? So here's how this came to me. Gaming of the system, manipulation of the system, exploiting a loophole in the system. So I have been a somewhat student of French for a long time, not in high school. I never took French in high school. I took German. I was in the German Honor Society. Um, and, but at some point in my late 20s, I decided I wanted to learn French. And so I had traveled to French. I was looking at graduate schools. I ended up looking at graduate school in France. Um, and I worked in Georgetown at that time. And when I was coming home from work, I rode the metro. I would ride the metro and get off at this stop where I could go to the U.S. Department of Agriculture graduate school. Yes, USDA has a graduate school. And there was a conversational French course there. And I started taking it after work. And I would take the metro and I would go over. And for 2 hours, there was no English spoken. We would just practice French. And then the instructor, in between the sessions that were offered with the USDA, she would have kind of a mentoring tutorial of conversation. And we would meet at a French restaurant in DC, and we would do things like practice ordering from the menu and speaking to each other colloquially. We might have homework assignments that were like go buy a French magazine from a newsstand and take an article and be able to translate it, and then come into our little group and tell what the article was about. And I used to love that. And then I left DC. I moved. I went to graduate school in upstate New York, and I didn't live back in that area. I haven't lived back there since 1995. Been different places. Cincinnati, Decatur, Georgia, which is outside of Atlanta, and now Southern California. So, lately, my family did my brother and my mom did the Ancestry.com blood blah blah blah. And so it was through this test, some of you may have heard me talk about it. It was the first time I felt completely comfortable, 100% sure that I could call myself an African American, was when the DNA came back and said that we are, 70 some odd percent of our DNA is from Francophone West Africa. And interestingly enough, before I even knew that, I used to just think of myself as a Francophone. There was something about French culture, French language, French food, that really appealed to me. I love Vietnamese. That has an influence of French cuisine in it. And I've just been drawn to learn how to speak French with really no reason. When I first started speaking it, I'd never been there. So here we go. So lately I've been like, I almost got fluent. I was speaking it enough that when I went to France, I was still kind of having trouble keeping up with how people speak very quickly. And there's this thing called liaison with vowels and consonants and blah, blah, blah. And so, and I just want to pause for one moment and say good morning and thank you. And if you're watching the replay, please put #replay and leave a comment or say hello. It's nice. It's an exchange of energy, right? Cycle of reciprocity, law of reciprocity, law of karma. As you give, you receive. So I would love to have some reciprocity, some giving, so I can give back. Okay, so recently I've really felt like what would be in my joy quotient? I've always wanted to live abroad. Can I see myself living somewhere where I can become fluent in French? What are my options? And then I thought, well, before I bother going and living somewhere else to become fluent in French, why don't I give myself that opportunity here, where I am right now, like in the here and now, create what it is that I'm desiring. And I'm not desiring it on a mental level. Like, I'm not trying to check a box or make myself feel better about myself. It's just something that feels fun and good. Note that. It's just something that feels fun and good, even if it has no real application to advancing my plan in my life. I just feel like I want to do it. So I found this app. Here's the app. It's called Duolingo. and it's free. And there's a lot of stuff in there. I haven't looked at everything because I'm only doing French, but there are a number of languages, and I love it. I'm not sure how to advance myself because I feel like I'm at too junior a level, and yet I'm loving the refresher. The other thing I've done is I found a meetup group that meets on Monday nights at a restaurant. It's all conversation, and I was really reluctant to go because I'm at such a beginner level and refreshing that I thought nobody's going to want to talk to me. And the people are just amazing and so kind and so generous with their help. And I can keep up to some degree from my little beginner level. But here's the deal. I was on a streak. Like I'm trying to make this a commitment, not trying. I am making this a commitment without being bound to this idea that I have to do it a certain way. So one day I had gone like 13 days. Yeah, a 13-day practice streak. And it's not like practicing for hours. It's not like going to a French class. It's like 15 minutes here and there. And apparently data suggests, and I do this with my piano as well, data suggests 15 minutes every day is better than not at all, or is better than an hour intermittently here and there. Is more time every day better? I'm sure. But if you're not into more time, 15 minutes is like, wow, cool. So I was up to a streak. No, it wasn't. It was 11 days. I was up to a streak of 11 days. I skipped the 12th day, just didn't get to it. On the 13th day, the app gave me an option. Apparently because I had done, jumped through a certain number of hoops and gotten so many right, I had these things called gems. And the app offered me, to keep your streak alive, you can use these gems. And so at first I was like, cool, keep my streak alive. Boop, hit the gems. And then after that, I thought, wait a second. What did I just do to myself? Okay, notice. It was, what did I do to myself? And I literally had to sit there for a minute. Like, I forget going on to the next thing. I was very caught up in, I just gave myself credit for something I didn't do. You know how they say, no matter what you do, tell a truth, tell a lie, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is that no matter what you choose in the moment, you know what you just did. You hear everything you say out loud and in your mind and in your heart. You feel it. You know. And so in this moment, I knew, and I was like tranced out, feeling the perturbation, the disturbance, and it was loud, like, wow. And then I let it go and I kept going. And so that was day 13. And then on day 14, I did it again. Day 15, I skipped. Day 16, it gave me the option again. Use your gems and keep your streak going. And at that point, I couldn't do it. And I sat there for a minute and it occurred to me, from the Bliss Collective perspective, when we do these things that we somehow are finding difficulty with, we're actually gaming our own system. So the system that is set up for us, within us, is that bliss is already there. It's already there. Our job is to uncover it, like to get rid of whatever stuff we have taken on throughout the course of our lives that actually obscures that, gets in the way of that, makes the inner realm, the inner sanctuary, more toxic than free. More toxic than free. More toxic than free. So the question then becomes not, did I keep my streak going and therefore atta girl Valerie, woohoo! And when people say, so how many days have you gone when you're doing your French practice? Oh, I've got 17 days. Well, actually, I don't. I can say that. I have 15 days. Well, actually, I have 11. Then I have a pause, and then I have 3, and then I have a pause. Do you see what I mean? So I know what I've done. The whole idea of cheating on our diets, it's like we're not cheating anybody. We know we're having something that supposedly the diet says we shouldn't have, and we agreed to the diet, so we're going against ourselves. And here's the thing that I would like to offer you. And I've been playing this game in my life for as long as I can remember. This game of I set these very high bars, which is also known as pushing myself. Do you push yourself? I push myself. I push myself. I'm getting much more discerning on when I'm doing it, and I know why. There's an aspect of me, black female, soul incarnated into a black body, other issues, female, soul incarnated into a female body, in a world that worships white and worships male. But this incarnation comes with some difficulty. And so my whole life I've been trained around how to get around the difficulties that this body, this presentation of the soul could create. And so there's shame, there's guilt, all kinds of toxicity. Toxicity obscures the freedom. And bliss, make no mistake about it, doesn't hang out in the toxicity. It hangs out in the freedom. It hangs out in the free part of you. When I talk about all beings being free in the meta prayer, that is emotional freedom. That is letting go of the conditioned patterns of belief, behavior, response in your life that actually anchor you into something that is not you, the false self, the toxicity, and prevents you, anchor, keeps you there, prevents you from exploring, accessing, expressing the freedom that is already inside you as your bliss center. So what's the problem with gaming your system? You always know you've done it, especially when you're awake. Now, there are times when I haven't known I was doing it because I was asleep at the wheel. I talk about that in my book, being asleep at the wheel of my life and having to wake up. Why is that the first step in my 4-step process? Wake up to who you're being. That question that I have you ask yourself, who am I being when I think I'm being me? Where does this expression of me come from? People talk about I'm expressing my truth. Half the time, maybe more, I wonder whether it's their truth or someone else's truth that they took on. And they believe it's them. They can't see the separation, the place to separate from that and make a conscious choice of speaking their truth, a conscious choice of what actually the truth is. So some people would say, but you earn those rewards. They're your gems. So you're just redistributing them. You're just redistributing them. So you got them over here and you're putting them over there. Yeah, that's true. And yet the thing says streak. It says streak. And for me, that means days in a row of doing this thing. And so it's not fully in my integrity. It might not be a problem for anyone else. And in this thing of the Bliss Collective, the movement is for individuals to create their own bliss. The collective isn't we all have to like the same thing, we all do it the same way. The collective is we're a movement, we're planting our flags for demonstrating, for having lives that demonstrate what it looks like, what it feels like to live in bliss, to know how to live in bliss, to create, co-create with the universe the most blissful experience possible. The most blissful experience possible. And when we're gaming our system, finding loopholes around our commitments, finding ways that we kind of, sort of, maybe, kind of, well, I did, not really, but kind of. Well, I gave myself credit because I had the gems from this other aspect. So again, this is not about good, bad, right, wrong. This is about, I just clicked the button to give myself a streak that doesn't actually align with my definition of that streak, even though the game offers it to me. It just doesn't align. The game's not wrong. I'm still playing Duolingo. I'm still having fun. I spent 20 minutes this morning on French. Yay! It's not that the game has to change. It's that I had to reevaluate, is this the me I want to be in my life? And is this really giving me the sense of satisfaction? So what do? Here's the thing. If you know that what you're doing doesn't align with who you really think you are, you're creating pockets of pain, pockets of toxicity that will be with you until you release them. So here's the like what happens next. So number one thing maybe is to reevaluate your goals. If you're having to game your system in order to meet your goals, maybe your goals aren't supporting the you where you are right now. So instead of a really strict diet, and I've done many of them, really, and I call them eating plans, really strict eating plans. Maybe at the beginning, when I write my charter, when I agree that this is what I'm going to do, then I give myself the wiggle room. So this is my eating plan, and I have several options for wiggle room. That's the way I still feel like I'm meeting my plan without gaming the system, without lying to myself, without sneaking my ice cream. I just give myself a certain number of ounces of things that are outside of the strictest parameters of the eating plan. So you would look at, is this goal in alignment with me? Where does it feel, am I pushing myself? Pushing is something we need to talk about another day. The idea is, can you not make yourself wrong because you skipped a day, you had some ice cream, you didn't make the phone call? Can you make yourself right for having not done something? Can you make it okay? That doesn't mean that you just give up. It means don't create a pocket of toxicity in you about not doing it. Get that? It's that punishment thing. And when we're inflicting pain and punishment on ourselves, wow, that's a big problem. So I've had to create forgiveness practices around the feelings of not being enough, around the feelings of I didn't do it, so therefore I'm lazy. I didn't do it, so therefore I'm never going to get it right. I didn't do it, so therefore I'm not as good as that person who did it. Or, when you look at something and they say, look at all these people who, this person made $1 million with our system, and this person created this blah, blah, blah. They show you the social proof. And so the anxiety and the upset and the negative judgment and punishment I would put on myself from being in the experience of, why can't I be like them? Like, what's wrong with me? If they could do it, why can't I? Haven't you heard that throughout your life? Someone will stand up and say, well, if I could do it, so can you. And then when you don't do it, you're like, well, what's wrong with me? Nothing. You're perfect. Perfect, whole, and complete in every way. The only thing that's not serving you is your disbelief of that truth, your inability to express that truth, your anchoring in something that is so far away from that truth, you can't even see that that truth is possible. So forgiving yourself for all of it. Wow. I forgive myself for beating myself up because I missed a day of French practice. Just because I said I wanted to learn French doesn't mean I have to beat myself up when I'm not learning French. So check your goals. Are they in alignment with the truth of who you are? If they're not, shift them. No judgment, no pain, shift them. Just, I think I'll change this. Change it and move forward. Leave what is the past in the past. Forgive yourself around the whole thing. Like you're in a learning journey. This is a giant academy. The dimension of the third, the earth, is an academy, and it's academy of life. And what we're learning is how do we disconnect from our conditioning and reconnect to our divinity, the highest form of who we are. That's where the bliss is. And how do we do that while we're in the physical body and can bring that energy into the planet Earth and spread it around like pixie dust? Wow. Then, like, what if you just added some time? So instead of gaming the system so I have a streak, I'll just maybe instead of doing 15 minutes today, what I'll feel good about is I doubled my time. So even though I did 0 yesterday, I did 30 minutes today. And I still won't call it a streak, but I will feel good about meeting my commitments to my desire to speak French. That's one way of doing it. You can come up with your own. So there are other ways to do it besides gaming the system. Make sure that your goals are what you want in this moment, and they're not driven by peer pressure, pressure from collective consciousness. And you might also want to surrender into the mishap, the mistake, the misunderstanding, like surrender to it. Well, I missed that day. Accept, allow, and receive. There might be something completely for you in the fact that you didn't do it that day. So sometimes we're pushing ourselves so much that our bodies and our minds can't keep up. How do you find this out? You might get knocked down with an illness. Boom, flat on your back. I was pushing myself. I was burning the candle at both ends. You probably have heard this. You may have done it. I was burning the candle at both ends, pushing myself to get it done. And then next thing I knew, I was sick and I was laying on my back for a week. So I just undid all of that extra pushing to get ahead. Boom, my body said, I don't think so. Notice also that some of our behaviors align with exactly what we don't want. So when we push ourselves because we're not getting there, we're anchored in lack. I'm not enough. I'm not doing it fast enough. The universe isn't supporting me. I can't relax until I get this done. All of that is lack and limitation. You cannot experience bliss. You cannot create abundance when you're anchored in lack and limitation. It is absolutely impossible. You might get glimmers of it. You might create it for a short period of time, and then it very quickly gets replaced with something else. So surrendering into exactly where you are and making that perfect, absolute perfection. Where you are is perfect. What you are is perfection. And you can choose to make you in the personality and identity alignment perfection as well. Are you getting it? So here's my invitation to you to look for ways that you might be gaming your system and you're in effect thwarting yourself. You're creating pockets of toxicity. Nobody else may know about them, but you do. And it's not serving you, and it won't get you to bliss. Okay, Bliss Collective. Yay, you are my heart. Many blessings to you. We always close the Hump Day Happy Chat with the metta prayer, which is the prayer of loving kindness from the Buddha. I love that. Prayer of loving kindness, the Karanaya Metta Sutra. Here we go. May all beings be peaceful. Peaceful inside creates peace on the outside. May all beings be happy. It's a choice. May all beings be safe. Know that you are protected by energy that's bigger than you, that loves you and wants your success. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. Living happy to be me is about the magnificent essence that you are. Bliss is already a part of that aspect of you. When you anchor into the truth of who you are and you express that as you in your life, you can help but experience what lines up with that in real time. And may all beings be free. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. And may all beings be free. Yabba dabba do. I'm Valerie Shepard, coming to you from the Bliss Collective with this week's Hump Day Happy Chat. Please do pound replay if you weren't with me live and leave me some comments and what you feel about this. What did this stir in you? Remember, when you give, the universe gives back. And you can give with a comment. Other people in the collective will benefit. And so will you. Okay, signing off from another Hump Day Happy Chat. Many blessings. Have fun out there. Bye.